The following episode is powered by Poddecks. Poddecks are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle up, ask a question, and let the content roll. Get yours today at poddecks.com and use code CinemaGold for 10% off your order.
Welcome to the Cinema Gold Podcast with your host, Larry Leese. Come join us as Cinema Gold dives into the latest Hollywood films and news.
Welcome to an all-new episode of the Cinema Gold Podcast. Today we're starting our Flashback Friday film reviews. This week we're reviewing the popular 80s film Breakfast Club from the mind of John Hughes. The 80s were a great year for film, whether it's action flicks or coming-of-age films. Thanks to director John Hughes, we saw the success of probably one of the most popular 80s films, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club turns a moment that many who went to high school are too familiar with to the big screen. This teen film features 5 different teenagers representing different cliques. First off is the bad boy criminal John Bender, the star athlete Andrew Clark, the princess Claire Standish, the quiet girl Allison Reynolds, and the brainiac Brian Johnson. This whole group ends up together on a Saturday morning in detention. Throughout the course of the movie, we discover the reality of each character's lives. The opening scene begins with multiple clips, starting with the front of the school, then going to different parts of the school, all while a voiceover reads a letter from the teenagers. A wall with Man of the Year and a bunch of pictures of guys in suits on it show right as the voiceover goes into explaining how the principal and the rest of the world sees these kids. The film is really carried along by conversations and the friendships made and broken and fixed between each other. Emilio Estevez kills it as a high school athlete. Judd Nelson nails it as the high school bad boy. Ali Sheedy doesn't say much and becomes more like the live-action version of Kid himself. Perhaps one of the best parts of the film is the 80s outfits. Well, yes, I'm sure if I watched this years ago, I probably would have disliked it, but there is something about the clothing style from that period. Back in the day, Roger Ebert reviewed this movie and said that the exchanges and moments are predictable and simplistic. However, watching this film, the simplicity makes it more profound, allowing us to make our own judgments. Ebert was also critical of the lack of adult interactions. However, the adults really weren't necessary to carry the story. We were focused on the students and their relationships with each other and how they grew during this time in detention. As a former high school student, I can think of so many people that I went to school with that really match up to these characters. So it's a film that's really easy to relate to, even if you don't necessarily fit into one of the 5 categories of teens on display. It's also an extremely quotable film with tons of memorable scenes and dialogue exchanges. And as a cherry on top, it's got a pretty good 80s soundtrack. The Breakfast Club shines as a unique examination of the teenager and as an impossible-to-forget film experience. Give us your thoughts on The Breakfast Club. Is it in your movie collection? Is it among your favorite movies? Let us know on Twitter at CinemaGold2, at CinemaGold2. Or like us on Facebook. Search Cinema Gold Movies. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Google. Send us a review on Apple Podcasts and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Cinema Gold Podcast. If you want to become a supporter, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. Follow us on Twitter at CinemaGold2 and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/cinemagoldmovies.